Myself, Madhuri Mui, working as assistant professor in Department of Electronics and Technology, Telecommunication, Sharad Institute of Technology, College of Engineering. So, in our mains subject, we have started the chapter number 1, that is Introduction to Mains. So, in a previous session, we have seen that the fabrication methods, that is bulk micromachining and surface micromachining, and after that we have started that the MEMS transducers. So from that MEMS transducers we have seen that the MEMS sensors, so piezoresistive sensor, electric sensor, then capacitor sensor. So next we are continuing with that. So next is the mechanical transducer, the resonant sensors. So MEMS resonant sensor consists of micro-machined beam or bridge which are driven to vibrate at their resonant frequency. So already that the resonant means what? That the vibration, whatever that due to that the micro-machined beams, so that are nothing but the resonant frequency. So they can be attached to membranes or designed to adhere to a particular substance. So as in the case of the biosensor. So movement of the membrane or increased buildup of the binding substance will affect the resonant frequency and can be monitored using implanted piezo resistors. So that are nothing but the resonant sensors. So micro-machined beam or bridge which are driven to vibrate at their resonant frequency, that is known as the resonant sensors from the mechanical transducers. So next part is also related to the mechanical transducers. So let us see the types of mechanical sensors, which part it is included. So strain gauge. A strain gauge is a conductor or semiconductor that is fabricated on or bonded directly to the surface to be measured. Okay. So strain gauge is the conductor or semiconductor and it is fabricated on or bonded directly on the surface. From that it is measured. So an example of a polysilicon strain sensor unable to fabricate by any other method than MEMS. So is an inflatable piezoresistive strain gauge to measure forces in heart and brain tissues. Okay. So these strain gauges of that means just we have discussed that there is a bio-MEMS sensors are also there. Okay. So these polysilicon strain sensors are nothing but the piezoresistive strain gauge to measure the forces in heart and the brain tissues. Then accelerometer. So accelerometers sense acceleration by using a suspended proof mass on which external acceleration can act. So it is shown in a figure. So upon acceleration or deceleration, a force, that is F is equal to mass into that the area, is generated on the proof mass resulting in a displacement. So the force or displacement is usually measured by piezoresistive and capacitive methods. So this piezoresistive layer is there. So this is the support. So suspended proof mass and this is the substrate. So suspended proof mass in a piezoresistive accelerometer. Okay. So from this external acceleration can act. Okay. So how much that the force is generated on the proof mass resulting in the displacement. So the force or displacement is usually measured by piezoresistive and capacitive method. Then next is the gyroscope. So in basic lectures also we have seen the various application of the MEMS. So in that also we have seen the gyroscope. So let us see once again what is that the gyroscope. So a gyroscope is a device that measures the rotation rate and detects inertial angular motion. So as a result, it can be found, for example, in transportation, navigation and missile guidance applications. So it relies on measuring the influence of corneal force on a body in a rotating frame. So MEMS gyroscope typically use vibrating structures because of the difficulty of micromachining rotating parts with a sufficient useful mass. So a gyroscope is a device that measures the rotation rate and detects the inertial angular motion. So if you see the example of the aeroplane landing and the takeoff. So in some angle it lifts that the aeroplane, as well as when it is uh, landed at that time also some of the angle is fixed. So position from that the earth surface, which is indicated over that the pilot, display of that the in front of the pilot. So that angular motion of that the left, right as well as the up and down and in every direction, that is angular motion, is measured by this gyroscope. Okay, so the gyroscope is the most important in mechanical transducers we need. Then next is the pressure sensor. So MEMS pressure sensors are usually based around thin membrane, so with scaled gas or vacuum filled cavities on one side of the membrane and the pressure to be measured on the other side. Okay, so what is MEMS pressure sensor? Based on around thin membranes with sealed gas or vacuum filled cavities on one side of the membrane and the pressure to be measured on the other side. So piezoresistive and capacitive membrane deflation measurement techniques are most commonly used in a commercial pressure sensor. So in pressure sensors also piezoresistive and capacitive membrane deflation measurement technique is used. So these are nothing but the pressure sensor. Then electrostatic actuation. So the fundamental actuation principle behind electrostatic actuators is the attraction of two oppositely charged plates. So what is electrostatic actuation? It is principle behind that attraction of two oppositely charged plates. So they are used in extensive in MEMS devices since it is relatively simple to fabricate closely spaced gaps with conductive plates on opposite sides. Okay, so it is use is extensive in a MEMS device, that is since it is relative to the simple to fabricate closely placed gap with conductive plates on opposite sides. So for a parallel plate capacitor, the energy that is denoted by W stored at given voltage, that is V, is equal to the given equation, that is W is equal to, that is stored energy is equal to half of the CV square. So C is the capacitance between the plates and the force between the plates is nothing but the derivative of that the energy stored energy. So d by dx of that the energy stored is equal to, what is the value of W? That is half of the CV square. So from this half is the constant, so taken it is the outside, so that the capacitance between the plates with respect to that displacement as well as the voltage, we are going to calculate the force of the electrostatic actuation. Then mechanical actuators, so comb drive type actuators make use of a large number of fine and interdigitized fingers that are actuated by applying a voltage between them. So as the capacitance is related to the area the greater the number of fingers, the larger the force that can be generated by the actuators. So here comb drive, then anchor to the subtraction, then motion, so that is free moving shuttle thread, then anchor to substrate and undercut, free to move. So this gray part shown, and they are the substrate. So anchor to substrate, then undercut means that the combo drive type actuator. So there's that the applying voltage between them, the capacitance is related to the area, greater number of fingers, and large the force. Okay, so that can be generated by the actuator. So this is combo drive electrostatic actuator concept. Then next is the mechanical actuators. So electrostatic rotary motors are another good example of the success of mains sacrificial oxide or polysilicon techniques. So they really on a central freely moving rotor with surrounding capacitive plates that can be driven in correct phase to cause the rotate to turn. So harmonic or oval motors rely on the principle of a rotor turning in a slightly larger stator ring, so such that it ovals around the central axis as it rotates, shown in a figure. So means electrostatic oval motor. So here that the structure of that the oval motor is shown. Okay, so this is nothing but the same. So this is the electrostatic rotary motor. Okay, so which is made up of from the sacrificial oxide techniques, or we can say the polysilicon techniques. So oval motor really on the principle of the rotor turning in the slightly larger stator ring. Okay. So here the reduction of the sliding friction and increase the electrostatic forces. Then mechanical actuators. So piezoelectric actuation. So as previously described, the piezoelectric effect can be used in both sensors and actuators. So in piezoelectric actuation, the electrically induced displacement, that the strain is proportional to the applied potential difference. Okay, so piezoelectrical actuation. So already we have piezoelectric sensor we have seen. So just like that, the applied strain is converted into the potential difference. So despite small displacements, relatively high forces in the region of tens of megapixels, pascals, so can be achieved using lower voltages than those required for comparable electrostatic actuation. So it should be noted, however, that it is dependent on the geometry of the device components. Okay, so piezoelectric actuations are nothing but that the electrically induced displacement, so which is proportional to the applied potential difference. Then the main disadvantage of the piezoelectric actuation is nothing but the high complexity of fabrication, so as well as the small actuation displacement. So it is the critical trade-off between that, and this is the disadvantage of the piezoelectric. Then larger displacement can be achieved using multiple piezoelectric layers known as piezoelectrical biforms, by MOFs. So most mains piezoelectrical actuation is used where small strain are required. So for example, the tip of a scanning tunneling microscope. Okay, so here we have discussed that the mechanical actuators. Okay, so piezoelectric actuator and other actuations which are work as a mechanical actuators we have discussed. Then next is the MEMS microphone. So MEMS microphone, so the sensor uses MEMS technology, that is micro mechanical system, and it is basically a silicon capacitor. So the capacitor consists of two silicon plates, that is surfaces. Okay. So one plate is fixed while the other one is movable. So respectively, the green plate and the grey one shown in the following figure, that is one is fixed while another is movable. So the fixed surface is covered by an electrode to make it conductive and is fully of acoustic holes which allow sound to pass through it. Okay. So MEMS microphone is nothing but the basically silicon capacitor which consists of two plates. One is fixed and another is movable. Which is the fixed part, that is electrode, and it is conducting, means there are full acoustic holes are there, because when the sound is passed through that, it will work. So movable plate is able to move since it is bonded at only one side of its structure, and another structure is free to move. So a ventilation hole allows the air compressed in the back chamber, okay, so to flow out and consequently allow the membrane to move back. So there are acoustic holes are there, from that that the air is allowed compressed and allowed to that the flow from that the membrane. So see here, just we have seen there are two plates. So green plate is and grey, means fixed is the green plate and movable is the, sorry, one is the fixed while the other is the movable. So fixed is green plate and movable is the grey. So this is the movable conductive plate, that is membrane, and holds rigid of the fixed plate, that is back plate. So here electrodes are there and ventilation hole is here. So air is compressed and this is the pressure reference chamber. So acoustic holes and the electrode. So this is the MEMS microphone. So the chamber allows the membranes to move inside, but also in combination with the chamber created by the package will affect the acoustic performance of the microphones in terms of the frequency response and signal to noise ratio. So basically the microphone MEMS sensor is a variable capacitor where the transconduction principle is the coupled capacitance changes between a fixed plate, that is back plate, and the movable plate membrane, so caused by the incoming wave of the sound. So this back plate and membrane, these are the two plates of the capacitance, and over that whole microphone that the principle is there. Then see here capacitive change principle. So sound pressure is from this side, these are the membranes bending, and in between that the gap, so it will work as a variable capacitor. So the integrated circuit converts the change of polarized MEMS capacitance into a digital, that is pulse demodulated or analog output according to the microphone type. So finally the MEMS microphone is housed in a package with the sound inlet placed in the top or in the bottom part of the package. So hence the top port of the bottom port nomenclature of the package. So in this MEMS, if you see the microphone, how it works, so it is nothing but the capacitance effect, change in capacitance effect. Actually the input comes from that, the pressure reference is from the chamber, and according to that the movable plate will move and it will generate that the capacitance effects inside, and so here the capacitance into the digital or analog output according to the microphone type. So the MEMS microphone is housed in various packages. Okay. Means in this session we have discussed that the MEMS transducers, after that MEMS actuators, and found that the MEMS microphones. Okay. So thank you.